right, man. You ready to go?
Let's do it.
All right. Well, welcome back to Local Talent. In studio with me today, Ty the Water Guy.
Yes, sir.
Ty, you want to give everybody a shout out? Who you are, what's your name, what's your business, who you are, and who you do it to. What do you? No. What do you do? I screwed up my own shit. What do you do, and who do you do it to?
Yes, sir. Like no worries, man. My name, or they call me Ty, or my given name is Ty Washington, but everybody knows me as Ty the Water Guy. I own a company here in our area called The Waterman. 3 words, not the waterman, but The Waterman. We specialize in water treatment equipment for commercial and residential. We not only sell equipment, but we service, repair, we install. I do a lot of work for my competitors. I actually install for some of my competitors, and I do a lot of work for plumbers who are not versed in water treatment. Mm-hmm. So we get a chance to see the good, bad, and ugly in a lot of different equipment and, you know, our competitors. And I don't judge them in that regard because they hire me to do their installs, but it is what it is. But yeah, man, we're in a
just make sure you cover up Ty the Water Guy when you're over there installing maybe some subpar equipment.
Yeah. So it's funny, man. I have a few of my trucks that I haven't gotten wrapped because of that, because we do, you know, some contracting work and, you know, for plumbers and, you know, some other parties that, hey man, we don't want you showing up in your gear, you know, the Waterman truck. So I usually wear, you see something I can pull off and you know, be pretty neutral. And still educate, because, you know, the water is bad. And, you know, we, you know, our claim to fame, more so than being or really attempting to be a sales company, has been more about wanting to be the educators in the industry. That has been, you know, what, if there's a differential in me and any of my other competitors, well, that's where I want to stand out.
Gotcha.
Because I love to educate and help people to understand. Well,
there's a lot that is not quote unquote known, I guess. I mean, people just turn on the faucet and that's it. That's, you know, but I mean, I did a little bit of looking into like reverse osmosis and stuff like that years ago. And the process of reverse osmosis is something that I'll let you talk about here in a minute, because you'll be able to do it a lot better than me. But the one thing that stood out to me is something like it removes 100,000 times smaller than a hair or something.
Yeah, than a human hair is
that is impossible for me to wrap my head around. It's a very impressive number, though.
So the word, what was really impressive to me when they used the term to a molecular, the water is broken down to a molecular structure, or however it's termed. It's mind blowing how, in order to purify water, the process that water has to go through. So reverse osmosis has been around for ages, man. You know, we're just becoming, you know, more hip to it, you know, in the technology world. But think about it. In my research, when, you know, to understand, on my quest to understand reverse osmosis, it took me back to the days, you know, when, you know, they didn't have bottled water. And those, you know, those guys who were, you know, out on the ships for years or months and years at a time, what did they drink?
Yeah. Well,
so that's where a form of reverse osmosis was created, because what they had to do was take animal skins, sheep skin, lamb skins, whatever animals, and, you know, take their skins and filter the water through it to make it potable.
Wow.
Think about it. There was no bottled water.
Well, yeah. I mean, and then too, if you're out on the ocean, right, salt water. I mean, it's not like you can just dip a cup in the ocean.
Yeah, of course you can't. So that was.
So they used animal skins.
That was the beginning of
any particular. Well, how often? Maybe this is the nerd in me, but how many times can you use animal skin to filter your water?
And that would probably be a great question. I'm not that smart.
We use reverse osmosis a lot cleaner than using animal skins.
Yeah, but it was better than, you know, trying to drink it straight from, you know, the
better
ocean.
than dying.
Yeah, because we can't, as humans, we can't consume that type of water and live.
How did you get into this business?
Interestingly enough, man, thanks for that question. It's a great question, because before I was in the water treatment space, I was a banker for a company many moons ago called Countrywide Home Loans. I was a sales trainer for Countrywide in Michigan during the 2008 mortgage meltdown.
Mm-hmm.
So I was in the mortgage real estate industry for a long period of time. And up until that point, I lived in Michigan. When I moved here to Texas, shortly after that, my game plan was to get back into the mortgage business because that's what
you knew.
That's what I had been doing for in one capacity or another for almost 13 to 15 years of my life.
Comfortable. You already know the game.
Yeah, I'm
you
very
know
clear. So I'm going to come here and just plug right in. But what I found, man, I had experienced burnout. And, you know, the 2008 fiasco had really left a bad taste in my mouth for, you know, what had happened in the mortgage industry. And I saw a lot of people get crushed.
Yeah.
It was ugly. Long story short, fast forward, we moved here, and that was my game plan, was to get back into the business, and I couldn't find it anymore. I wasn't passionate. I got job offers, and I didn't want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, me and my wife, we quickly found out that the water was a little different here than it was in the Michigan region.
Really?
And, oh man, we had great water there.
When you got into water softeners, I guess is what you'd say, you were door knocking for doing sales for something else?
No, I was, security, home
security.
security.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So then along the way, you're like, hey, what's this water softener thing that I keep seeing in everybody's garage?
Mm-hmm.
And then you educated yourself on it. And then you made the switch somewhere?
Right. That was the start of me, you know, doing, you know, self-education. Mm-hmm. And then I, you know, eventually ended up working with working for a company that gave me a little more information, that teamed me up with a guy he was a great sales guy, but the guy knew nothing about water softeners. Probably, man, we would go out of 10 houses we would go to, he would sell 8 of them. Mm-hmm. One of the best water softener salespeople. But if you backed him into a corner and he couldn't diagnose, he couldn't break anything down, but he could sell a water softener. So shortly after that, I ended up working with the company, and the guy that I worked for, he happened to be a master plumber / master water treatment specialist. So I fell in the lap of somebody who knew it from both angles, because plumbers think about water treatment differently than water treatment specialists.
How would you source if a plumber was actually specialized in it, or if he's just blowing smoke up your ass?
So a lot of them, as far as, you know, they have just enough knowledge to be dangerous. Plumbers get more calls for water softeners than I would only dream of, because think about it. Most people, when they associate anything dealing with water or plumbing, be it a water softener, they first think of a plumber. They don't think about a guy like me that I special. That's what I do. We have ways to do it that they don't know how to do. And I've come behind a lot of plumbers, and, you know, here's the knock, that they've actually plumbed or put water softeners in backwards. The plumber.
Does the equipment not work, or do you still get water and it just doesn't filter?
Well, think about it. If it's plumbed backwards, it's going to reverse what it's naturally supposed to do. So opposing to just the water coming in, filtering through the media, it now goes the other way, where the water comes in and it blows the media into the house. One of the other things is, if you're not, and this is guilty, so this is on both parties, of a water treatment specialist and a plumber, that they're selling, you know, a lot of times selling inadequate equipment, because not understanding, especially on city water, it's very important for people to understand that a water softener by itself on city water is truly a one-trick pony. The municipality has to make that water potable.
Okay.
Potable doesn't mean it has to taste good, smell good, that kind of stuff, but it just has to have enough chemical in it to kill the bacteria. And them creating, you know, potable water, or through that process making potable water, it creates another problem in your plumbing and appliances. Because remember, we're dealing with hard water for the most part. When people buy a water softener, they're thinking, hey, I'm going to remove all the, you know, the hard minerals, the calcium and magnesium from my water, and I'll have great water. Well, That's one part on city water, because the other part, remember, my company, we're a full service company. So we get to see the good, bad, and ugly in it all. And one thing that we found consistently over the years is that families that have purchased a water softener without having a filtration system to deal with the removal of the chemicals, that water softener doesn't last long.
Makes sense.
It shortens the lifespan because the chemicals in the water break down the resin or the media inside the water softener that is designed to remove the hardness from the water. It breaks down and eats away at the media or the softening resin.
Okay.
Shortening the lifespan of that equipment.
So ideally, you would have the filtration, and then the soft water comes in after that.
Exactly. So we would plumb it where the water coming in from the municipality comes in through that filtration system and takes out all the chemicals and a lot of other garbage that it deals with, then into the water softener, then into the house.
Could you get a water softener and then like a year down the road say, all right, I got enough scratch to actually do the whole shebang?
Oh, absolutely.
So you can do it at different phases?
Absolutely. Yeah, I have customers that, hey, we're not ready for that yet, or they want to do a little more research.
Sure.
I tell people, you get the better deal if I do it all at once.
Absolutely. You got one trip.
Yeah. But if it's it's something absolutely that we can, a la carte.
Okay. Right on.
Absolutely.
So, your the service work that you do, how much of it is not equipment that you sold? Roughly.
Man, that's a great question.
Like, say, a DIYer, or maybe they bought a house with it already in there. You know what I mean?
Man, that's a great question. I would probably be, 60%.
Wow.
It's a huge
60% of your service work comes from shit that you didn't do. That's awesome.
Because we get the calls.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I mean, just proved your point there with what you're trying to sell the other, or not sell the other guy, but where you were at.
That's what I saw. The services, because there are a lot of sales companies here.
Mm-hmm.
Very few companies, plumbers included, know how to service and repair equipment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
they're not interested in it. So you can have a water. I've seen this
air conditioners, right? Mm-hmm. Same. Well, I think that model, right? I mean, it's the throwaway model, the throwaway society. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just cheaper to go buy something on Amazon and replace it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Nobody's interested in trying to figure out why it doesn't work anymore. You know?
Yeah. Yep. So those opportunities for me is like, man, that's golden.
If somebody sends you a picture and you're like, no, we're not messing with this.
Yeah. So we get equipment where, people
still has the Home Depot tag on it. We ain't messing with that one, man.
So we even in that we were transparent. So here's the deal, because a lot of those, if they're not working, that equipment is very funny. We actually service those types of equipment. But here's what we found is that that equipment has a thing I call that it gets jealous. If you fix one part on it.
What's that?
If you fix the one thing, the other pieces
it
of
sounds
the
like
equipment,
Harley made this damn thing.
The other components, like, well, I want to be new too,
yeah.
And it's a slow demise of So now, where you had a $250 repair, right? That we can do that, but we're going to be chasing this. We're going
to come back every week.
By the time we finish with this, you could have, purchased, either go buy another one of these,
right,
or just get a real water softener.
Nice. Well, not nice, depending on.
Well, but that's the transparency, man. Sure. It's very important to me, man. I'm a firm believer in this. I believe in treating people how you want to be treated. I'm 100% with that model, because if somebody came to my house, give me my options. Don't just, here's what it is, sir. We can fix this, but if, we start fixing on this, once we open it up and we fix that, we're constantly going to be coming back to repair, because like I call it the jealousy model. Everything wants to be new.
Right. So
I'd rather stop the bleeding now. And I say, sir, I'll tell them all the time, if you're into the box store water softener, sir, go buy you another one of these and I'll install it for you.
Sure. Yeah, just swap them out, be done with it.
Be done. Because other than that, you're going to be chasing. You're going to be chasing. You're going down a rabbit hole with this. Because after 2 service calls, a couple,
Yeah, $95 pop, and
Yeah,
then whatever materials are.
They
and
run between $300 to $700, and you're in it. Go buy another one of those.
How much are they from the store?
Between $300 to $700, you can get one of those box store water softeners.
Well, there you go already. I mean, if your service call is $100 or $95, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's the transparency for me. Like, hey, I'm not in the business to. A dollar is a dollar.
Yeah, I'm not trying to scalp you. You know, I don't want to just keep bleeding you. This is what's going to happen. You're going to get bled.
Yeah, we see it every day, man. We get calls, a ton of calls on box store equipment.
Mm-hmm.
I see it every day. So, same conversation I'm having with you is the same conversation. My people who answer the phones in my office, they've been trained. Send the pictures.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same conversation. Well, ma'am or sir, we can come. We have a service call of $95. This is something that potentially could be repaired. But however, my guy gets out there and he explains.
Yeah.
Here's the process. We can do that. A, your choice is to we go ahead and repair it. B, you just go buy another one of these. Or C, we can sell you a real water softener.
That's fair. I mean,
straightforward.
Yeah, I mean, you can't muddy that up.
No smoke and mirrors, brother. That's the straight up way, and that's how I deal with people. How I want to be dealt with.
Yeah, well, and I'm the same way. You know what I mean? As far as like when you said just a second ago, show me my options, tell me my options. I get down with that 100%.
Yeah.
Look, worst case, best case. Let's figure something out in between.
Yeah.
You know, so whenever you and we'll just call him your mentor, if is that fair enough to say? Whenever y'all split ways, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you decided to, start your own business.
Yeah. So I actually, then I was only a sales company, in which I hated just being a sales company because, by this time I had started to create a name for myself, and I was getting a lot of referrals for new equipment, people who needed repair, service, all this stuff. And I was giving all of my service repair work to another company.
Which is the primary reason why you and the other guy split up. You're like, man, I want to be doing this.
Right. We can take that part too as well. But, everything happens for a reason, man. It didn't work out. And I moved on and I kept, moving forward. And I started a company called Premier Water Systems.
Okay.
And, up until, now we have the water man. So my business partner now, he, currently, I think he's been in the industry for 36 years.
Oh, wow.
In the water treatment space.
Just the water treatment.
The service repair side.
You said something just a second ago that I think falls short of a lot of people, especially a lot of men. And that is, you said your business partner, who you've been partnered with for 7 years now, you're still learning from him. When he talks about some of the treatment side of things, you shut up and you listen.
Oh, absolutely.
It is, you know your role, you know your lane as your business partner. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of the reason why I think partnerships fail is because the people are just so eager to overlap into, hey, if you got a business partner, you should be very clear what he's going to do and what you're going to do, what she's going to do, whatever. Yeah. So if he's going to do service and if you're going to do sales, and I don't know if that's your arrangement, but if that's the arrangement, then you decided to partner with this man for a reason. Trust that he's got the service under control.
Exactly.
So many people are so worried about the other person not doing what they're quote unquote supposed to, so like there's overlap there, and then they come over into your lane, and that's the demise of a lot of business relationships.
Yeah.
So, but no, I was just gonna say, that's I think that's extremely important, where you can, you can take your hands off the wheel. That this man is gonna take care of that part of your relationship.
Yeah, because he doesn't want to do what I do, and I don't want to do what he does. So it works out great for us. He loves being the GM. He likes to, deal with the office, the equipment. That's what he loves. That.
Yeah.
Man, I don't want to deal with it. I want to get out and meet people. I want to make the phones ring. I like the network. I love the people part of this business.
So you had a business before you before you teamed up with your partner, right? So, and that was Premier?
Yeah, Premier Water Systems.
So whenever you and your partner got together, is that when y'all went with?
Yeah, so what was interesting, he already had the name The Waterman.
Okay.
And I like that better than Premier Water Systems. Like, man, I'm not, that's cool with me. So we can move forward. He wasn't doing any marketing or promotion around it. Well, now people know The Waterman, you know, as a result of, you know, the efforts, because that's what I was doing anyway. I just switched Premier, you know, for the most part. And we just, you know, created our entity because it was I mean, the name already existed. He hadn't formally.
Right. So, yeah.
It just worked. I like The Waterman. That's like, man, that's what we do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's very fitting, right?
Yeah.
So whenever you, okay, you had a vision before you met the guy, before you met your current business partner. You had a vision for what you wanted to do long term. After the two of y'all partnered up, how close to that vision do you think you got? You know what I mean? Because like you said earlier, you wanted to do service, and at that very moment when you first started, you weren't able to do it. Now you are, you know, of course. So, you know, what you wanted to do versus where you ended up at as of right now, as we're sitting here, how close?
Man, so I look back, man, and I'm still excited. I mean, because I still feel like I don't work.
Yeah.
But from when we first got together, I was working. I had a little car. And he had a truck for the most part. So we were small company. We had a storage facility that we kept equipment, you know, in or whatever. From then to now, we moved from, you know, one truck, one little car. Now we have 5 trucks, office space, and we just opened up an alkaline water store.
Fair to say that you need to set some new goals.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It sounds like you've achieved more than you thought you would in the time frame that you got there.
Yeah, the thing that's amazing to me, man, because I have to give all credit to God for, you know, where He has brought me from where I was to now. Because a lot of people don't know or didn't know that I struggle with dyslexia.
Okay,
that's something that's been a struggle all my life. But even in the middle of having some, what some people may call shortcomings, was still able to overcome. And it was only through, in my experience, through the grace of God and me wanting, I so desire to want to do it right and to treat people right. I don't want any money. I don't want anything that doesn't belong to me. I don't want to take anything from anybody. My blessing comes from, I believe, from helping people and genuinely wanting to help you, sir. Right.
Yeah.
The byproduct, if it works out, you'll give me some money. Well,
this goes back to what you were just saying about your strategy with the realtors. You wouldn't even charge them for that consultation. And that's genius. I mean, that's probably needs to be put down in a book somewhere. Cause that is the exact long play that you want. You know, you're being generous up front with your time. All right. And then also you're educating. Right. And then, so I know me personally with how I operate on a daily basis is I don't want to know anything about water softeners. I want to know that I can talk to you and you're going to shoot me straight. So if I am buying a new house or if I'm selling a new house or whatever, whatever, it doesn't matter. And there's a guy here that is willing to educate me for at no cost. And he's not trying to sell me anything. He's not trying to replace anything in the house that I'm buying or selling. How could you not remember that guy?
It worked. It worked, man. And I've been blessed to still have a ton of those relationships that still move forward to this day.
Where does the lion's share of where your customers come from? Does it come from networking? Does it come from the realtors? Does it come from home sales? Does it come from Home Depot?
Yeah. Oh, wow. I would probably, man, I get I would say probably 75% of my business is referral.
That's amazing.
75% of my personal business referral. And I have other sales guys.
Sure.
Now. Yeah. So I've moved. I'm not the only sales guy, but of my personal production, 75%. The other part of my 25%, the phone rings.
What would you say is the biggest misconception about your industry, about water softeners? What do people just don't? I mean, myths, whatever you want to call it.
So the biggest myth is that they're not affordable, or if the house doesn't have the plumbing, it can't be done.
If the house doesn't have the plumbing, it can't. I'm dumb. You're gonna have to explain it to me like I'm 4. So why would somebody say that?
So a lot of the houses, the older homes, and even some new builds still, builders built houses without the plumbing for a water softener.
Okay.
So you've heard the term, you probably heard the term pre-plumb.
Mm-hmm.
Pre-plumb means that when the builder built that house, they built that house with a water softener in mind.
Sure. And if it didn't have one, it just capped off.
Right. It doesn't. They weren't thinking about a water softener.
So it's just like, whenever you pour a new slab and there's stubs in the ground for your toilet or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing. So sort of,
kind of, but just think about it. They weren't considering a water softener. So when I tap into the plumbing, it wasn't as a result of the builder. It's like, hey, they may consider having a water softener at some point.
Mm-hmm.
We have to create it.
Right. So
tapping into usually.
But it's not because the plumbing that's in the house is inefficient. It's just going to be more of a pain in the ass to get to.
Yeah. So we still have to create the loop, for the water, the in and out. But yeah, that house wasn't erected with a water softener in mind.
Gotcha.
The ones that have loops, that house was built because what happens is when a house is built with the plumbing in mind with a loop, that means that the builder, everything that happens on the inside would be soft water.
Mm-hmm.
Everything outside, the hose bibs, all that would remain hard.
Okay, so there is a difference in plumbing for hard and soft water.
Right. So
okay.
You have to create that. So if it's already existing, there is, inside is soft, is what you want. Yep. Outside, because you don't soften or water your grass with soft water. So all the hose bibs outside remain soft. When we go in and have to retrofit, or what I call aftermarket pre-plumb, have to create that opportunity, well, everything goes soft.
So are you talking water faucets, shower heads?
Everything. So in and out. So now when I say we do the aftermarket, or we come with the builder didn't build it with. So if I'm coming after the fact, when I tap into that main water supply, everything goes soft, both in and out. If the plumbing existed,
okay,
it's just inside.
Okay.
Without everything inside and out. So what we have to do typically when we create the plumbing for a water softener to exist, we typically will have to create a hard water hose bib.
Okay.
Because everything goes soft. So now I have to create one.
It's definitely going to be easier if it was pre-plumbed for a water softener, but it's definitely not undoable.
Oh no, man. We do them every day.
That's when I say
not literally every day, but yeah, it can be done.
So I'm going to do a lightning round, and I need a cool sound for this. Okay. So pick a color, and then I'm going to shuffle them up, and then I'm going to draw 5 of them, and then you're going to answer the questions however you want. Just pick a color.
Green.
Green? Okay. All right. So, these are what the heck deck. This deck is what the heck. So I'm going to pull off 5 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Answer them however you want to answer them.
Okay.
And just, you got to remember, you pick green.
Okay.
If you could sing a duet with anyone, who would it be?
Oh, wow. Wow. Man, probably one of my favorite all-time singers would be Charlie Wilson from the Gap Band.
Okay. All right.
I actually toured with him at one interval in my life. Yeah, we're actually friends. Charlie Wilson is a good friend of mine. I used to tour manage for him.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
How? That's another show.
That's another show.
That's pretty damn cool, man. What's the longest you've ever waited in line for something? The new iPhone?
Probably.
Be straight.
No, I'm an Android guy.
Yes.
I'm an
you
Android
hear that,
guy,
Apple
man.
lovers?
Yeah, I'm an Android guy.
Android.
Probably it's probably with my wife because I don't have a whole lot of patience. So something that she wanted to do is probably an hour or more because I'm like, it's not that important to me.
Yeah.
There's nothing.
Time. Yep.
Yeah, there's nothing that important.
Time is more important than waiting.
Yeah.
Well, let's see here. What slogan or jingle got stuck in your head forever? My girlfriend calls them earworms. You're missing out on a great opportunity right here, dude.
Man, my personal jingle, yeah. So yeah, that's always, and people try to repeat it back to me all the time. So one of my favorite jingles is or hooks is, if your skin is dry and your hair is tight, it just means your water ain't right.
Oh, yeah, I was going to screw that up. That's a good one. All right. What would be the creepiest thing you could say while passing a stranger on the street?
I like the way you smell.
That's pretty damn creepy. That's some Charles Manson shit right there.
That would be weird. Somebody like, what, bro?
Yeah. Especially if it was, same gender, right?
Right. I like the way you smell.
All right, dude. That's a good one. If you could have anything named after you, what would you want it to be?
Probably would want it to be an island. If it's named where my family could go, it's
Thai Island?
Thai Island.
Right on. I would probably want a freaking mountain or something.
A mountain?
Mountain Setzer. The lightning round. I don't even know why I'm calling it that. It's got to be I probably should call something better. All right. So, you good? You need to go bathroom?
I'm good, man.
All right.
I'm good.
If you could think of just one thing before you got into this business that you wish you knew, what would it be?
It's real crazy how water works, man. But yeah, I probably would have been a little more put a little more interest on understanding aquifers and how they run and the different places they connect.
Interesting. What would your biggest mistake in this business be so far?
Man, that's a good one. And I know I've made a lot of mistakes. Just trying to see what would be the biggest one. Procrastinating on some things that I should have done. Investing in some different opportunities in the water treatment space.
Hire my first employee. That was such a chore for me. I just didn't want to do it. I was so insecure. I wish that I would have hired my first employee years before I did.
I still have customers who, of course, they have my personal cell number. I have an office. I have staff. I have people who answer the phone. So trying to wean them off of calling me, call the office and tell them they can get you scheduled. Yep. So they're so used to calling me to handle everything. And it's like, well, look, my office told me you cannot schedule because I always mess the schedule up.
Well, and you don't see the master schedule. I'm sure.
So
riding down the road, you don't know if there's something going on Thursday or not.
Exactly. So I have to tell the customer, look, call my office. They will take care of you. You know, whatever is going on as far as other than me having to go to a sales appointment or something like that. Any service or customers I've sold. Ty, I need call the office, and they'll take care of you. Yeah.
I had to change my phone number.
Really?
I had when I started my drafting business, I had, I worked off a cell phone for many years, and then we got so big where that thing just didn't stop ringing. I would miss 3 or 4 phone calls while I was on the phone, Wow. And then so I had that phone number. I just forwarded it to the office. And then I bought I got another cell phone, personal cell phone, and it was like my family was the only people that had that number,
right?
And my office manager. And what's pretty damn funny is that she has a. I didn't even give that number to her brothers, who I'm very good friends with. Mayor Schurtz, or Cibolo. And so he would call up here. He would call the number, the only number that he'd have, and he's like, damn it, what's his number? I don't know it. I can take a message if you like. Come on, just put me through to him. I can do that. But anyway, yeah, it's a struggle, because you want to be accommodating for your customers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we just said about relationships, you're not just selling something or a product, you're building relationships.
Yeah.
And so, and that goes both ways. You've cultivated this relationship. You want to make sure that nobody screws it up.
Yeah, that's my baby now, man. It's important, man. I don't take for granted anything, man, because when a customer calls me, I'm thinking about, man, there are 5 other competitors that I'm thinking of right now that would love this phone call. So I want to give them 100% of me 100% of the time. Mm-hmm. And what I'm learning is that I can't always be that.
Yep.
And that's hard. That I struggle with that.
So, and I got that on my list of shit to ask you. Competition. So, I ask a lot of people that I ask, do you have competition? And of course, these are wildly different fields. I ask, do you feel like you have competition?
So the direct answer is yes.
Okay.
The spinoff of that answer would be no. Because I probably, when we started this interview, probably said there are very few educators in my industry. There are more sales companies than there are companies who the mission is wrapped around educating the consumer.
For sales, what's your favorite tool? Do you have one? I mean, if it's a CRM, spreadsheet, networking, what's your favorite tool for sales?
So, well, I guess my ultimate favorite is the networking piece because, being able to get out in front and, you get to meet a lot of interesting people here, man. Mm-hmm. San Antonio has some really interesting people and finding out what they do. My hopes in the networking that I do, I'm always looking for people that not only that can help me, but that I can help. I think that's, for other entrepreneurs, man, and that doesn't necessarily,
and anybody that's listening or watching, it's not just where he's saying like he can help by selling them a water softener.
Yeah.
Maybe it's help by putting him in touch with somebody that knows another trade, electrician.
Yeah. Just, that connection of small business owners, man, that network of entrepreneurs, man, that we can help each other's business. Mm-hmm. I'm always open and looking for those opportunities.
Yeah.
Like, man, I mean, yeah, in my business, I need electricians. I need plumbers. Mm-hmm. I'm not a plumber in the regards of, a plumber where I install showers and bath. That's not what I do. But if I have good plumber sources, hey, I know a plumber.
Yeah.
I know, AC people. These are, people in my network because I'm in homes every day where people, need other services other than a water softener.
Sure. Yeah.
Well, man, the networking is huge here.
Do you pass that information down to your people? And what I mean by that is like, say your installers, for example. Mm-hmm. Do they, I imagine your Rolodex, and I got roasted for saying Rolodex. I'll imagine that your phone, your contacts, you have several trades, right? So do your installers, let's say that they're on site and for whatever reason, they're like, hey, we need an electrician. Do they have the same people? Do you talk about any of that?
So, you just brought up a good point. I need to do a better job of that. Our core people that send us, business or referral business for us. So we get business from plumbers.
Yep.
We do work for plumbers that I hadn't really thought about it because I know to refer those people out. Sure. Now I'm thinking, man, do they know the people to refer them out when that opportunity comes up for those things? Because they'll usually probably get more of that opportunity even than I do.
Right.
And I hadn't.
Well, because the problem is it doesn't come up until they're there, right?
Yeah. So now I'm thinking like, man, there's probably been a ton of referrals that we missed and that'll come up at the next meeting. Yeah. Thank you.
You've been doing this for collectively 10 years?
Yeah. A little over 10 years ish. Yeah.
What do you see out in front of you for the next 10 years? Where do you want to be?
So my objective here in the near future, I'm looking to combine the water treatment system and an alkaline water store.
Okay.
To basically blend them. And I'm going to use the term franchise. I'm using it lightly. I'm not sure. I want to get into the franchising model, but to be able to build those type concepts.
So the soft water, is there anything that the water softener takes out that you can't consume or shouldn't consume?
No,
or is it
so
just the hardness?
just hardness. So the water softener isn't a purification system.
Right.
It deals with
It's like a filter.
Yeah, like a filter, but it's specifically the media that's inside it called resin. Resin is removing the calcium and magnesium, and a water softener can remove small parts per million of iron that are in the water. It's not a iron filter, but it can remove small traces of that. Then we talked about earlier the filtration system, or a carbon tank, or a dechlorinator that deals with the removal of the chemicals, the chlorine, the ammonia, or chloramines, and then the reverse osmosis being the drinking water apparatus, where you're getting your filtered or your bottled quality drinking water right at the sink, because the water softener doesn't make your water taste better, smell better.
Right.
That's not its job. The carbon filter, it's cleaning the water up a whole lot, removing a whole lot of other than the chemicals, a lot of organic or inorganic material that could still be remaining. So that's his job. It will make it taste a little better because it's minus the chemicals.
Right. Well, the misconception is that water with nothing in it is good for you, right?
Yeah.
So when you say nothing in it, yeah, that's true, as long as there's no diseases in it. But like you said, I mean, there's supposed to be minerals. There's supposed to be things that are the body needs.
Yeah. So I mean, I've had a lot of conversation with different people, just depending on who you're talking to and their level of
education.
Their level of education, depending on where that conversation could end up. What I've learned too, man, it's funny over time, is that how alkaline water affects different people.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Some people who love it, some people who hate it. It makes them feel weird. Well, I don't get into that.
Yeah, and absolutely. Yeah. But that's not just with water. That's with everything. That's what people don't understand, or nobody wants to consider, is that everybody is just as different as a fingerprint. And I know I'm going to get roasted on that because who's matching fingerprint? Anyway, my point is that yes, and that's fascinating to me actually, is because, especially with drugs, illegal drugs, seeing how radically different it affects people. It's mind blowing to me. You get people from brother and sister or brothers or whatever, and they've had drug experiences and their reactions are completely different from each other.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So that's aspirin affects people differently. Same thing with water. Alkaline water is going to be different for everybody.
Yeah.
Do you sell a proprietary brand of water softeners, or?
I don't. We chose not to, when it comes to product, not to get into that world, because what happens is, God forbid I go out of business, and like Connecticut specifically is a proprietary type of equipment. If that equipment starts to act up, you can't call the waterman per se to fix it, even though we may know how.
Yep.
But we can't get parts.
So if somebody says, what are the best water softeners for, I'm looking at the best water softeners for 2022. How does that phrase or term relate to you? What would you say to that?
Best is in my world would be, relevant to, that customer needs. So best is, type of equipment, size of equipment. It's so vague.
Such a broad term.
It's so broad, man, because, we have even, equipment, the same equipment that I may put in your house because you have an active family is different. The size that I would put in a little old lady's.
Yeah. My neighbor.
Yeah. She, what I've learned that older people don't shower and bathe as much as they used to.
Right. Well, yeah, they ain't doing shit.
Yeah. So their water consumption is different.
Way down. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, well, man, they don't need a 60,000 grain water softener. It is a complete overkill, weight. She only needs a 30,000 grain water softener.
I guess what I'm getting at is that I'm sure you could go to Home Depot and buy something. I don't even know what it would be. And then, they have a few somethings by a few different manufacturers. I would assume, right? So, and what you were saying earlier, how, you know, you can go buy that on the lowest end of quality as you can, or you can buy a quality system, is like Black & Decker makes a lot of shit, and they make a lot of different drills, and they make really cheap stuff, and they make really nice stuff.
Right.
Is it?
So, yeah. So our product, so from, you know, that standpoint, we use a product that's from Kennature is the manufacturer of the products that we purchase. But the brand we use under the Kennature's umbrella would be the Hydrotech.
Okay.
Hydrotech is the two systems we use. One is either downflow and one is upflow. Okay. Very, very durable, has stood the test of time as far as we're concerned, as far as quality.
Do you have to be a dealer for something like that? Like with other, you know, other trades, other businesses.
Yeah. So with Kennature, we're listed as a dealer, but you don't necessarily have to be a dealer with Kennature. But yeah, we're listed as a dealer, you know, one of their dealers here in San Antonio.
Gotcha.
But when we talk about proprietary equipment versus non-proprietary, the equipment that we use, for the most part, those parts can be found anywhere.
Yeah, off the shelf.
You know, for the most part, in the water treatment space, where you can't get stuff off the shelf for Kinetico.
Right. Yeah, once you open that box up, you might as well throw it away. Like an iPhone.
Yeah, it's a wrap. It is what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So, value. One of the things that, as an entrepreneur for myself, I can decide if I'm selling signs or if I'm selling blueprints or if I'm selling rats. That's a true story, by the way. I can say, you know what, this widget is worth X amount of dollars. And I've come to this conclusion because whatever. How do you assess value to your product? That is such a tough question, and I know it is, and it's kind of on purpose. I realize, you know, you got to take, you know, shit costs you something, you know what I mean? And you got to make money on that, you know, otherwise what's the point? How do you just look at something and just give it a percentage? Or do you say, oh, well, this is a Mona Lisa. This is very valuable because it's so rare. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. There's so many different ways that somebody can assess value to a lot of different things. How do you assess value to your product?
So I guess one of the main things for us, man, is because, I mean, this industry is so competitive. With the various types of water softeners or treatment systems that are out there. When we sat down to figure, you know, price points, as we would call them, looked at what, you know, our major competitors were offering and compared to the equipment that we were offering, you know, comparing apples to apples, and then comparing, you know, apples to oranges, as I would call it. If we're comparing an apple to apple, if I'm sitting across from a table from a customer, and, you know, Kinetico has been there, and I understand their product, and what am I going to put side by side with Kinetico for what their price points are? We want it to be in the ballpark because we have to be real careful that we don't soften the market or create a spiral down for value, because there's true value in having a system, but not being, you know, overpriced. Right. So we were teetering between the low to the high, or, you know, because, you know, a lot of there are some competitors out there now that sell water treatment systems for $9,000-$10,000. I'm nowhere close to that. But here, the reality is that would be on the extreme, and people are buying them, the ones that aren't educated. So
more money, more better in their head.
It's an illusion. But what we found, the reality is the sweet spot in the water treatment space is usually somewhere between $3,000 and $5,000.
What do you do to reset? What do you do to just check out and mentally get your shit together?
Man, I am a person, you know, I'm as much as I love people, not being around people a lot of times is very peaceful to me. So when I'm just traveling, you know, from, you know, customer, well, yeah, that gives, and what's funny, I don't even turn my radio on. Same. I never turn my radio on, man. So it's like, that's my time to whatever. And I drive from here to Houston with no music, by myself, just
Do you talk out loud to yourself?
I don't think I've done that.
I do.
I can't say that I have.
And this is so I use those long times, those long trips. Well, hell, even short trips. Whenever I'm driving with nothing, no kind of anything going on, no music, podcasting, like that. I'm thinking shit out. You know, what if I did this? How about I did? But there's some times where I'll actually say shit out loud because I'm like, I want to know how this sounds. You know, does it sound as ridiculous as I'm thinking? So, Mr. Customer, if I asked it, no, I can go with that. Yeah. You know, I actually say shit out loud. But so with my bike though, dude, whenever, so there's so much technology now. Our helmets, we have Bluetooth in our helmets. You know, we can talk to our passengers, to our friends, you know, all the stuff, music, take phone calls if you want to.
Wow.
I'm not that guy. If you put a microphone inside my helmet, if I wasn't vlogging, you would hear wind noise. You know what I mean? I'm just like, you know, it's therapeutic to say the least. So, what would you say, parting words of wisdom for anybody that is looking to, be an entrepreneur, or anybody that's looking to level up their work life? What parting words of wisdom would you give them?
Man, one thing I would say, fear is probably one of the biggest things that people have with crossing over into that world of entrepreneurship. There are a lot of 9-to-5ers that just don't have the courage to make that move. Mm-hmm. I'm always of the nature, man, if you don't try, you never know. I was listening to some story about Michael Jordan, how many, shots he missed. Made. Yeah, how many he missed. Like that was like, that
how
was
many times you lost
Yeah, that was like, wow. But the fact that he took the shot, and he's still the greatest. There isn't, I think LeBron is bumping up there, but there's still nobody.
Jordan's the best.
Yeah, I'm just saying. So LeBron still cannot overshadow Michael Jordan.
Right.
I don't care what conversation you win, he cannot overshadow him. But the fact that he missed that many, and he's still the greatest player to have ever walked the planet. That's like mind blowing to me. So I think the fact of, he didn't have fear. I'm going to take the shot.
Yeah.
Win or lose, I'm going to take the shot. So the worst case scenario is that you miss, but you keep shooting. You're going to make it. You have to keep shooting. Man, I wish I could say everything that I ever, tried was 100% successful. But what I found is that if it was, I wouldn't be here talking to you. You know why? Because I would think I was a god. People with you always hit it. Nobody, you get to this point where you have arrived and nobody. I'm humbled because I didn't always make it.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Like, oh man, I'm human.
Well, and so a lot of people from the outside looking in, they don't realize that. One of the things that I started this show for was I wanted to hear from other entrepreneurs. Our society, it's good or bad or whatever, but our society is to a point where they look at somebody who has a business and they're like, oh, he's lucky. Oh, he's got lots of money. Oh, they don't, like that. There's a famous thing or whatever with the iceberg and then the success, right? The success is what you see above the water. And what you don't see below the water is all the shit.
Piece of iceberg down
there. And that is such a true visual piece to wrap your head around with entrepreneurship. I've made lots of bad decisions when it comes to business, lots of uneducated decisions, inexperience.
Yeah.
There's, I often joke about my education is very long and very expensive, because that's how I get down, but, and then too, right. So like, I've had nobody here, but I've had other employees where, this has been a problem. They see that I stay at home or whatever, and they're like, "Oh, why am I making the boss all the money?"
They miss it. They completely miss it.
And that's. Yeah. I think it would be nice. It would be really nice for a couple things to happen with this show. I would love for somebody to say, you know, man, I was listening to that show and you gave me these little nuggets that I needed to go out on my own. I would love to hear a story like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, if you're not the entrepreneur, but you are doing business with an entrepreneur, to just, you know, understand that that person has sacrificed.
Absolutely. Yes.
Whether it's money, time, family time,
a lot of family. Yeah.
You know, my friends up here at the Tropical Smoothie, the Johns, they're the very, very generous people. They give back to the community. They're very generous. They, like right now, I think we're coming up on April, so they're going to be coming back, but they left, I think, in February. And like they're following some race circuit, you know, they got an RV, really nice, beautiful RV, you know, but I mean, they are both retired military.
Wow.
You know?
Yeah.
And I mean, it's like sometimes they catch some flack, you know, they're always gone. The Tropical Smoothie must pay good, you know?
Right.
That's one of the most insulting things I think as an entrepreneur I could be told is, oh man, I'm in the wrong business. Yeah. You know what? You could probably be in any business and be broke.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
You know, if that's what you think. If I just stumbled into, you know, it's just,
yeah,
it's frustrating as an entrepreneur to hear that. And
it is
what it is.
Those are the people who have to work the 9 to 5 because they don't get it. Man,
right.
It's not easy. It's not easy. I'm thinking, man, the hours and time and sacrifice, like you mentioned, man, there's a lot that goes into it. You don't see that iceberg underground. You just get to see the end result. Like, oh, it's polished. You got this here. You guys got 5. Man,
must be nice.
Yeah, but so all the insurance, all the other stuff that it takes to keep that. If I stop contributing to that, my business will fold.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes you may be at home. You know, you've done your 9 to 5. I'm at a customer's house at 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night.
So that's a big thing is at 9 to 5, you turn it off between 5:01 and 8:59. Mm-hmm. You know, most 9 to 5s you can do that. You know what I mean? If you're an entrepreneur, you don't ever turn it off.
Yeah. I said, I'm on vacation with my wife celebrating I think we're doing our 27th year anniversary.
Congratulations.
Yeah. And we're 28 this year. We're going back to Hawaii, by the way. But the whole thing was like, I still had to answer my phone on my wedding anniversary vacation.
Yeah.
I couldn't turn it off.
Right.
Because
sacrifice.
There are 5 other people waiting for that phone call that I know they're waiting for it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. And my wife, you know, thankfully she understands that that's my business. This is how we eat. This is what's going to, if I don't answer the phone, well, we won't be able to go to Hawaii again.
Right.
Because I answered those calls, we're going to Hawaii again in August.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you have a terrific support system for any of your entrepreneurial endeavors. You know, one of the things that I talk about with other guys is the support system that they have. Guys, gals, don't roast me. The common thread though is like I've said, you know, if you've got to have some sort of support, financial, motivational, whatever. You got to have some type of support, you know, and Kim, another great example. She's got a really terrific story. You know, her support system was herself. You know what I mean? And she had to make shit. She had to make shit happen. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. But at the end of the day, she put out there, this is her why, you know, and in her situation, nobody's going to help me get here, you know? So, you know, you got to support yourself. You got to support your 2 kids. You got to, you know what I mean? But support is a big thing. That comes from, even if you got to give yourself an attaboy, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Sometimes it is just you, man. But I've been blessed. My wife from day one, when I was trying to figure all this stuff out, I wasn't making any money, of course, in the beginning of this, and she was working, and she had to take care of us. And it wasn't, you know, not that she was making that much money. He said, me and my 2 sons and her, we just moved here to Texas. We don't know anybody. I have no connections, and I'm trying to figure this thing out.
Yeah.
And she was cool with it. I mean,
Yeah.
and all right, but she knew that I was going to, because I went in, man. I dived in it, and until I got it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And and knock on wood, I understand it a whole lot better, and I'm still open to learn more. I love the fact that, man, you don't know it all. I love that, because there's so much more. I have so much more room to grow, because it's, man, and we're only scratching the surface. I mean, water and air are here to stay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not getting any better. So in my world, I'm like, how huge of an opportunity is there for me? And I'm just here, this little small piece here in San Antonio, not even as far as Houston is concerned, I haven't even touched it, because Houston is mammoth. I have all of that to look forward to, and the other ventures that I'm working on is going to mammoth what I'm doing in this.
That's exciting, dude.
Yeah, so
that's very exciting.
I still can't sleep. I still, that excitement you have when you something, I still have trouble sleeping because of all the great things that are happening that are outside of what I'm doing now, that I've been blessed to do. It's going to mammoth this.
That's awesome. That's exciting.
Oh yeah, I can't sleep.
Where can people find you online? Find you anywhere?
Yeah, so my office is located on the northwest side of town, 7715 Mainland Drive, Suite 101. My office number is area code 210-664-1111. My personal cell is area code 210-379-6909.
I'm not going to edit that out. You sure you want to leave that out there?
Man, absolutely. Call me, absolutely. And then, of course, my website you can go to is SA Water Softeners with an S.com. SA Water Softeners. Make sure you put the S on the end.com. Or you can just Google The Waterman. 3 words, The Waterman.
Right on, man. I appreciate you coming in today, dude.
Man,
I had a good time.
I appreciate you inviting me, man. I saw this show. I was like, yeah, hopefully one day he'll call me.
No, man, so I'm still doing a lot of this myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, it's I don't know. It's been a lot of fun. I enjoy talking and hearing the stories, and honestly, what's nice is I get to sharpen my own tools here. I get to understand what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah.
So, man,
cool,
this has been a lot of fun.